something while you're talking triggered my imagination, but this is electrically driven.
It's
correct?
electrically powered.
So to the degree that automobiles are seen as, dirtier than we would like, electric is seen clean. Well, it really depends on what you got it plugged into on the other end of the line.
Right.
But how do you, maybe you could tell the audience how you electrify these things. I've heard some trains just have the section where the train is, it's got electricity running through it. Some trains have it running through the whole system and they lose some in resistance to the electrical lines. How is this set up?
I expect it'll be set up through the whole system. And the electricity has to come from the state grid. And the state grid has to be expanded and increased.
Okay.
I predict it will be. Interesting, a little curiosity, high-speed rail regenerates about 7–8% of its power through the braking process.
Like a hybrid car does that.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And, of course, environmentally, it's calculated it uses about 1/3 the energy of airplanes and 1/5 the energy of motor vehicles.
Okay, so it's more efficient in getting people around.
All the way around.
Now, one of the things I just think about also as you're talking, it's strange how these thoughts come to me, but there was some criticism when this process was going forward that I supported it, frankly, and I thought we ought to be buying up right-of-way if we could. But as we got closer to that, one of the railroads says, well, we're never going to let them use our right-of-way, and they're presuming that they're going to be doing that. I don't know if that was UP, but
it was the Union Pacific.
Yeah.
And Union Pacific has right-of-way up the valley.
Okay.
Just think Bakersfield on up to Merced and on beyond up to Sacramento.
So what's our plan?
And it would have been better to be able to use right-of-way so you don't have to take property. But the alternate plan that's in our business plan is to acquire right-of-way as close to that corridor as possible.
Okay.
And right-of-way acquisition will be between $3 and $4 billion out of that $33 billion for phase one. Okay. Maybe it'll be less. Now, you don't know. And interestingly, also relevant is that Burlington Northern, which has right-of-way farther south of Bakersfield, particularly LA to Anaheim, is cooperating, and the likelihood is we will be able to use that right away.
Well, that's good. Clearly the voters supported this, and you have a lot of fans of high-speed rail, even some of those that are just now understanding more about it are probably thinking, I can't wait till this thing's done, I hate flying, or whatever it is. But, $9-some billion is a lot of taxpayer money, and what safeguards do you have built in that this money will be spent wisely?
Well, I'm holding as a graphic, as they say, a copy of Assembly Bill 3034, which was enacted August 26, 2008. And it's got more belts and suspenders I've ever seen in a transportation project.
I happen to wear suspenders, so I'm glad to see you got
I mentioned them. It includes such requirements as not being able to start any segment, and there are 8 segments, I just mentioned a couple of them, between San Francisco and Anaheim. You can't start building any segment until all the money needed to complete the segment is certified as available by the Director of the State Department of Finance, the Chairman or Chairwoman of the Joint Legislative Budget Committee. And before you even reach that stage, there's a peer review group set up, which I mentioned a couple months ago, or a couple minutes ago, and that group has to certify the accuracy of your cost figure for constructing that segment, the availability of money factor that's involved in it, and all risks that you have identified. There's also a requirement in the law that if there's a deviation, something changes, you have to report that immediately to the legislature and the governor. In addition, it provides that priority will be given to any segment where you need to use the least amount of those bond proceeds. So take an example, Los Angeles to Anaheim. If local, regional, federal money is available, and it means that we have to use very little of that $9 billion net proceeds from the bond issue, that'll go first. Well, in addition, we can't spend more than 10% on non-construction costs. That means all the engineering, all the environmental analysis, and you ought to see the environmental analysis.
We've got to wrap it up now. I'm sure that would take about 10 other programs just to scratch
Yeah.
it. Is there a website people can go to for more information?
Yes, there is a website, and if I may just take 1 minute to enunciate.
Well, we got about 30 seconds. So.
Yes, www.chighspeedrail.ca.gov, G-O-V. So it's www.khighspeedrail.k.
And we'll put that as a graphic for you to see. Thank you, Judge Kopp, for joining us. And again, this is Senator Bob, I almost said Assemblymember, Senator Bob Huff, 29th District. Thank you for joining us, and Quentin Kopp, our guest on Capital Connections.
For more information, contact Senator Huff at his district office, 2605 East Foothill Boulevard, number A, Glendora, California, 91740. Call 626-914-5046 or visit his website. Thank you for watching Capital Connection.